I know that you kind of started your fitness journey because of a sad situation, so I was hoping maybe we could just kind of start back at the beginning and you can tell us how you got into fitness and how it helped you.
I can't even remember how many years ago it was now. Isn't that horrible? I came out of my first marriage into the next relationship I came into was ended up being very mentally abusive and didn't realize it going in. I have no idea how I got pulled into it, let alone stayed in it for so long. I had a friend of mine, thank God, that saw the big picture of what was going on and pulled me out. And at that point, I was at the lowest point of where anybody should be, to the point of where the only reason I stayed here on earth is because of my daughter. She had saved my life once when she was born, and I couldn't take that away from her. My girlfriend the same woman took me to a boxing gym and said, you just need to punch it out because I know you're not going to talk about it. And so I put a face on the bag and went to town and learned some moves and found a therapy that I never imagined would never imagine for me. I was the girl that didn't have a pair of sneakers, didn't like to sweat.
Oh, so before that you didn't exercise really?
No, not at all. And but I fell in love with it. And it really took me from a place of having no self-esteem, no self-worth, no self-confidence, and going in this direction in life to really turning a corner, and just fell in love with fitness. And as the years went on, I got more and more into fitness, became an instructor and a trainer, and then I started thinking about how this really changed my life, how a bag and a pair of boxing gloves changed my life. And the community as well. And I decided, well, can I maybe give back? And worked through a lot of the pain, worked through a lot of things, and finally came to the realization that I'm very thankful for what happened. So,
you had said that your daughter saved your life when she was born. What did you mean by that?
when my daughter was born, at my 6-week checkup, they found that I had cervical cancer.
Oh my gosh.
So they said if she would not have been born when she was, that they would have never found it. And I've always wanted more than one child. I was an only child, so I always said I've actually broke up with boyfriends when I was young because they said they only wanted one child or no children. And when we were at the oncologist, I said, well, can we try again really quick? You know, what if we get pregnant again really quick? And I said, what is the prognosis? He said, in 2.5 years, you'll be dead.
Oh my gosh.
So
yeah, that's not what you want to hear.
No, so it was a realization that, my daughter, in fact, saved my life. And I'm very thankful for that.
So what was the treatment and process for that? Like, what did you go through?
Luckily, when it was caught, they do, for cervical cancer, I didn't have to go through chemo and radiation, thank God. So for many years, I didn't even consider myself a cancer survivor. You know, I had 2 surgeries. They remove some of your cervix and hope they get it all, and they didn't get it all the first time, so I went back in and did get it all the second time, and then just lots of follow-up visits. Yeah. But yeah, it took many years for me to actually accept that I was a cancer survivor as well.
Yeah, that definitely counts. Yeah. Goodness. Okay, so then you went through that, and then you had it was a mentally abusive relationship, not necessarily physical.
Yeah.
And then what was it about boxing, especially, I guess, that kind of healed you?
It's a release. Yeah. You know, coming out of something like that, I had so much pent up anger, and not just at him and the situation, but at myself for allowing this to happen. And finding out my daughter at almost 10 years old was still sleeping in my bed, and I couldn't figure out why. And as soon as him and I broke up, she went back to her own bed, and I'm like, Alyssa, why? You know, what happened here? And she's like, Mommy, I was just always scared that you were never going to come home. So she knew it, even though I tried to keep it from her. But being angry that inside that I allowed that to happen, and that it took away some years of my life is what I thought then. And just fighting with that and fighting with how can somebody do that to somebody else? How can somebody make somebody feel like they are nothing and tell them that they'll never be loved, that they'll never, that they're not worth anything. And so to put that on the bag and to try to, every single time that I was in there, try to leave it there. And and every time it came back up, to leave it there. And it just, after a while, it just starts to build you up. And I always heard about boxing and how it really can be very empowering. And I always just thought, muscle-wise, hit things. I didn't realize that what they meant by that was actually in here, was actually between your ears. And, your coach is pushing you, and like we push our children to learn more. We always push them past that edge of where they think they can go. The same thing, I went through the same thing in the boxing.
So it's making you mentally tough as well as physically tough.
Yes,
Very
exactly.
cool. So what was the, I guess, progression from when you started boxing and really getting into it to actually, now own your own, your trainer and, own your company? So how did that kind of happen?
Well, it took quite a few years. I transitioned out of hitting so much into being a fitness instructor at a local gym with the boxing stuff, and we called it cardio box. So it's station work, basically. Homegrown, boxing, conditioning. And then I got pulled out of that and brought into another program that I had to do or I had to leave. So I stayed. Yeah. But then over time, I felt a calling back to, I wanted to put my gloves back on. I wanted to put mitts back on. It was something that I just absolutely love. I can't explain the feeling of holding mitts for somebody or even having gloves on and doing that and what that feels like. So I started doing it for holding for friends, and I had a workout. I was the trainer, but without having the trainer certificate. Yeah. So a very good friend of mine said to me, Theresa, I want you to get your personal training cert. And I was like, why? I'm doing this. He's like, no. He's like, you're devaluing yourself. He said, and your gifts for people, wow. and what you have, to give back from after everything you've been through. He said, so get your trainer certification and come and work where I am. And so I listened, and I did. Great. Yeah, and I started just running some classes, and which I still run those classes now. And then just, again, I just had that deep-seated feeling inside that this can help somebody else. And last year, about a year ago right now, I had my first girl. She was referred to me, and she came, and if you could just see the difference in her now, and what it's done the same thing for her that it did for me, and it's crazy. It just makes my heart swell. Yeah.
So you have like a special spot for the people who kind of went through similar things that you did?
Yes, of course I do. Yeah, it's easy to relate, and I can feel their pain. While I don't feel that pain anymore, I can feel it when I see it. I can recognize it, and the amazing thing is all my regulars that come into class all the time, they all know my vision and my dream, and so they know that people like this are going to be coming in and out, whether they stay like my one girlfriend has, or whether it's just in and out for a time. We've seen people on the floor in tears, just cowering and crying, and we've seen people screaming, yelling at the bag, and to know that everybody is there that understands what's going on, and they're just family now.
So you also do kind of along with the boxing and the physical stuff, like wellness coaching along with that, or nutrition, or is it mostly just the physical?
No, they go hand in hand. I have I'm not an actual wellness coach. I don't have a certificate or anything like that, but I do work with a company where over the last 4 years, I have brought my health back to a very high state, and I'm able to help others through that as well. So I kind of have all these different tools to bring together that allow me to help people in many different ways.
What's your own kind of fitness and nutrition regime like?
Oh, my own fitness and nutrition. So yes, actually it is. Sometimes you get to a point where it's not like a drug, but it's like a drug. You get to that point where I have to have that feeling, So it's pretty hardcore. A lot of HIIT classes. So I love to teach that kind of thing. The boxing, I don't mind being hit. When I'm holding, I always encourage people, depending on where they are in their skill set, to actually hit me, not in the face, for the most part. My mouth guard's not real good right now, but to actually reach out and touch, in that way, I enjoy that. It gives me a jolt. So nutrition-wise, I have a strict but not strict nutrition plan. So, it's literally, I do meal replacement shakes. I have supplements that I do use. I do a lot of something called cleansing, nutritional cleansing. So pulling toxins out of the body and that, and just kind of really trying to live pretty much overall healthy lifestyle. If I can be any kind of role model for others as well in that way, then that's amazing too.
Do you run as well, or did I see you did a triathlon recently or something?
Did you stalk my Facebook page? Isn't that great what we can do? Yes.
So I did see that. So that's a really big accomplishment.
Yes.
So if you could tell me about some of your accomplishments.
So last summer, I was just kind of having this pool inside. I'm doing all this training. I'm training other people, my own training, and I'm like, what am I training for if I don't have a goal in mind? And so I was like, I came around from the back, so to speak, and I was like, I want to do a triathlon. And so the angel on one side said, I want to do a triathlon, and the devil on the other side said, what? No, I don't want to do that. But so I started learning, a little bit more. I started swimming. That was the hardest part. Yes, I do run. So I decided to, because doesn't everybody do their first triathlon on their 50th birthday? So that's exactly what I did.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was horribly amazing. So.
Horribly amazing.
It was cold and pouring down rain, and so on the bike, wind chill, and it was hard. It was
not fun while you're doing it.
Yeah, it was horrible at times, but it was absolutely amazing in the sense of accomplishment to know that even as I get older, I can still continue to reach new heights and do new things, and that age is just a number, pretty much.
Do you have any other big kind of goals and plans on the horizon, either personally or professionally?
Well, I'm gonna do more triathlons. I have at least one more scheduled this year, and I would like to, as long as my knee holds out, I would like to do some longer ones as well. Somebody got me a medal holder, and so I would like to put some medals on there. And but professionally, yes, I would love to have. I'm going to have my own space at some point, and to bring in the trifecta elements that I want in there, as far as the fitness part of it, and where people can come and just do something different, because a lot of people are bored. They really are at the gym. And then have the other part of it, all weaved in with, people that can come and that need help. And then there's a whole nother third part of this with working with people with Parkinson's. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Tell me
You didn't
about
catch that on my Facebook page.
I remember seeing something about Parkinson's, but I don't remember what it said.
So I have a man was referred to me 2 years ago now, and he was in the early stages, about 6 months in with Parkinson's, and it's known, it's proven, Zumba and boxing really help with Parkinson's patients. It really helps at times. You can not reconnect the link because there's pieces missing, but you can help to slow down the progression. You can even bring balance back in. There's so many things that can happen. And so Tom has been with me for 2 years now, and is opened up a whole nother part of my heart that I didn't even know was there. And but working with Parkinson's patients and being able to bring the rock steady boxing, into what I do as well at some point, and to help impact more people, because the success that he has in 2 years is just unbelievably crazy.
Is Rocksteady like a program
It is.
that you learned, or?
Yes, it is. So I volunteer right now at a gym that has the Rocksteady program, but it was developed. Can't remember exactly who developed it, but it was a boxer, and it's out in Illinois, and you can go out there and get certified. But it's just how to work with Parkinson's patients, because there's all different levels of the disease, all different progressions. So knowing how to work with somebody in level 1 and level 4, are different things. So to get certified for that, and to have the affiliate with Rocksteady Boxing, that you continue to be educated, and have access to all kinds of educational information as well, to be able to help more. Yeah.
So if someone was in your position where you were all those years ago, what advice would you give to them? We're good.
Don't give up. Don't give up. Because if they're still in, there's a part of you inside that's screaming to get out. And I was scared to tell anybody, because of how embarrassed I was of where I'd gotten, and tell somebody. There's people out there that will help, And I had my friend Rochelle and my father. I came to my dad and I told him, and it was just, you feel like there's no way out at that point, when really the easiest way out is just to walk out that door. And there's programs, there's people, there's family, there's always there's me. So and it's hard, and it's hard to not go back. I went back at first, but it didn't take long. It literally very, very quickly. But to just do whatever you have to get out of the situation. If you have that inside, something telling you this isn't right, we've all been given that gift. At birth, to know when something isn't right, and whether you choose to listen to it or not is up to you. But you can change. You can change it. You really can. It's a choice. It really is.